Welcome to ancient Greece, where Olympic victory meant more than gold medals. It was a path to godhood. Join us as we explore how exceptional athletes transformed from mere mortals into living legends, earning divine status through their extraordinary achievements. For the ancient Greeks, sports weren't just about competition, they were deeply woven into their religious beliefs. The Olympics began as a festival honoring Zeus, with athletes competing in his sacred sanctuary at Olympia. Every throw of the discus, every wrestling match, and every foot race was considered an offering to the gods. Athletes would pray and make sacrifices before their events, believing divine favor could mean the difference between victory and defeat. The Greeks saw physical excellence as a divine gift, and when athletes achieved seemingly impossible feats, people believed they had been touched by the gods themselves. This connection between athletics and divinity shaped Greek culture for centuries, creating a unique world where sports and religion were inseparable. Let's meet some of the first Olympic champions who became larger than life. Take Koroibos of Elis, a humble cook who won the very first recorded Olympic race in 776 BCE. His victory made him immortal in Greek history. Then there's Milo of Croton, a wrestler so powerful that stories claim he could carry a full-grown bull on his shoulders. He won 6 Olympic titles and was said to be blessed by Zeus himself. These early champions weren't just athletes, they became cultural icons. People would travel for days just to catch a glimpse of them, believing that their extraordinary abilities were proof of divine favor. Their victories were celebrated in poetry, carved into stone, and passed down through generations as proof that mortals could indeed reach the realm of the gods through athletic excellence. When athletes emerged victorious at the Olympics, they weren't just given a simple award, they were elevated to near-divine status through elaborate ceremonies. Winners would be draped in purple robes, traditionally reserved for gods and kings, and crowned with sacred olive wreaths cut from Zeus's own grove. Their names were proclaimed by heralds throughout Greece, and poets composed special victory odes called eponychia to immortalize their achievements. Back in their home cities, champions would enter through specially created holes in the city walls, because regular gates were for regular mortals. They received free meals for life, front row seats at all public events, and even had statues erected in their honor. Some cities even went as far as tearing down their walls, declaring that with such mighty athletes they needed no other defense. The Olympic olive wreath, known as the kotinos, wasn't just any prize. It was a symbol of divine recognition that transformed athletes into living legends. These wreaths were cut from sacred olive trees in Zeus's grove, using a golden knife wielded by a young boy whose parents had to be alive. The branches were carefully woven into a circle, creating a crown that marked its wearer as touched by the gods. While it might seem modest compared to modern gold medals, this simple wreath carried immense spiritual and social power. Winners wouldn't just wear their wreaths, they'd be treated as semi-divine figures, granted special privileges, and honored with statues and poems. The olive wreath became such a powerful symbol that even Alexander the Great coveted one, showing how this simple crown could elevate anyone, even a king, to new heights of glory. Let's explore the incredible athletic temples where sports and worship came together in ancient Greece. The Temple of Zeus at Olympia wasn't just a religious building, it was the heart of athletic worship, housing one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Athletes would gather here before competitions to make offerings and pray for victory. The gymnasium at Delphi, built right next to Apollo's famous oracle, combined physical training with spiritual guidance. These temples had special areas called palaestras, where athletes trained, practiced, and performed sacred rituals. The Temple of Hermes, patron god of athletes, was another key site where competitors would leave offerings before games. These amazing buildings with their marble columns and bronze statues showed everyone how sports and religion worked together in Greek life. Greek sculptors didn't just capture athletes' appearances, they transformed them into idealized figures that blurred the line between mortals and gods. When crafting statues of Olympic victors, artists would emphasize perfect proportions and divine-like features, often depicting athletes with the same muscular beauty as statues of Apollo or Zeus. These sculptures, called victory monuments, were placed in prominent locations at Olympia and in the athletes' home cities. The famous discobolus, showing a discus thrower in perfect motion, became a symbol of human physical perfection. Sculptors used bronze and marble to create these lasting tributes, with some statues even receiving regular offerings from people who believed they held divine power. Through these artworks, athletic champions literally stood alongside the gods, their achievements preserved in stone for eternity. One of the most remarkable aspects of the ancient Olympics was the sacred truce, or ekaicheria, a period of peace that transformed the Greek world every 4 years. Messengers called spondophoroi would travel across Greece announcing the Olympic dates, and all warfare had to stop. This wasn't just a suggestion, it was a divine command protected by Zeus himself. Cities laid down their weapons, allowing athletes and spectators to travel safely to Olympia. Breaking the truce wasn't just politically risky, it was considered an offense against the gods. The truce lasted for 3 months, creating a window of peace that brought together former enemies as they watched the games side by side. This tradition showed how sports could unite people when even politics and war couldn't. The relationship between Zeus and Olympic athletes was incredibly special. Before every competition, athletes would approach the massive statue of Zeus at Olympia, presenting their finest offerings, from precious oils to sacred animals. They'd perform careful rituals, hoping to catch the king of gods' attention. Successful athletes didn't just credit their training, they believed Zeus had personally blessed their performance. Many champions would return to Zeus's temple after their victories, dedicating their victory wreaths and sometimes even commissioning expensive statues as thanks. The most famous story tells of the boxer Theagenes, who won so many times that people believed he was actually Zeus's son. This belief in divine support wasn't just tradition, it gave athletes the confidence to push beyond normal human limits. The ancient Greeks didn't just celebrate their athletes with statues and ceremonies. They immortalized them through powerful victory songs called epinikeia. The most famous poet for these Olympic odes was Pindar, who turned athletic achievements into epic poetry that would be performed for generations. These weren't simple congratulatory verses. They were complex works that compared athletes to mythological heroes and gods. When a champion won at Olympia, their family would commission these special songs, which would be performed with music and dance in their hometown. The poems highlighted not just the athlete's victory, but their divine qualities, their family heritage, and their special connection to the gods. These songs spread across the Greek world, ensuring that an athlete's glory would live forever in people's memories. Olympic champions didn't just win games, they transformed Greek society from the ground up. These athletes became powerful political figures, with some even using their fame to become city leaders. Their divine status gave them incredible influence. They could sway public opinion, broker peace deals between warring cities, and even change laws. Cities would compete to claim champions as their own, offering them citizenship, free housing, and political positions. These living legends also shaped Greek education, as young people were taught to follow their example of excellence. The champions' stories were used in schools to teach about morality, dedication, and the rewards of hard work. Their impact was so profound that even philosophers like Plato wrote about how athletic glory could elevate someone to a godlike status in society. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through ancient Greek athletic divinity. If you enjoyed learning about these legendary champions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Stay tuned for more fascinating stories from history.